Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something pretty interesting, how the political climate, specifically between the U.S. and Canada, might be changing how some people travel.
That's right. We're looking at a specific example, a blog post from Wanderlust Over 70. It's one person's story, really.
A personal take. And our mission here, for you listening, is to kind of unpack how these bigger forces can influence very personal decisions, like booking a trip and maybe see things from a different angle.
Exactly. The source is this blog post, Travel in a Time of Tariff Tension, The Price of Politics. It's from April, and it details this traveler's experience.
Okay, so let's set the scene. This author, based in Montreal, used to pop down to the U.S. all the time, right? Like 6 times a year?
Yeah, something like that. Super frequent. New England, New York City, Florida. They were easy trips, close by, appealing despite the currency exchange sometimes.
Sounds like crossing the border was almost like visiting a neighbor. Really casual.
That's the feeling you get from the post, definitely.
Yeah.
But that feeling started to change.
How so?
Well, the author describes the border crossing itself feeling different, not just routine anymore. They mention sharper questions, longer stares,
right.
Just a bit more scrutiny, maybe.
That casual neighborly vibe sort of evaporating.
Yeah.
So they give examples.
They do. Questions like, why are you coming? Where are you staying? And how long? Basic questions, sure, but the way they were asked, the tone, felt different to the author. Less welcoming, perhaps.
Right. And you have to wonder what's behind that shift in feeling.
Well, the author connects it, at least partly, to the political rhetoric. They specifically bring up hearing to talk about Canada being like the 51st state.
Ah, okay. That kind of language.
Yeah. And whether it was serious or just, a throwaway line somewhere, it clearly resonated with the author, and maybe not in a good way. It seems to have colored their perception of that relationship.
So this feeling, this unease, it actually led to a change in plans.
It seems so, a very conscious one. The author decided, look, maybe I'll hold off on the U.S. trips for a bit and explore more of Canada instead.
Interesting. So turning inwards, travel-wise.
Exactly. And it's framed as not just, practical, but meaningful, too. Like, hey, there's actually a ton to see right here in Canada. Let's appreciate that.
Okay, so where are they planning to go? Did they mention specifics?
Oh, yeah. First up, Quebec City. Several weekend trips planned.
Oh, nice choice. Very distinct.
Totally. The author talks about the history, the kind of European architecture, the culture, wandering old Quebec, the river views.
And the food, I bet.
Oh, definitely the food. It sounds like a real focus on soaking up that unique Quebecois atmosphere.
It really shows you can find that sense of discovery close to home, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And then the other big plan is Nova Scotia. A full week.
Oh, the Maritimes. Completely different vibe again.
Right. Rugged coasts, those charming little towns, the whole East Coast hospitality plan.
Sounds idyllic. Any particular spots mentioned?
Cape Breton's dramatic landscapes got to mention. Lunenburg's historic streets, too. And, of course, the seafood. Lobster, scallops, chowder.
Okay, now you're just making us hungry.
Huh. Well, it paints a picture, doesn't it? It shows the sheer variety within Canada.
So, exploring Canada is the new focus. But does that mean no more international travel at all?
Not entirely, no. The author is clear about that. They actually had 2 big trips already this year. One to Florida, which included a cruise, and then 2 weeks in Paris.
Ah, so those were probably planned before this shift in thinking really solidified.
That seems to be the implication. They were already on the books. And there's also an upcoming trip to South Africa in October.
Wow, okay. Big trip.
Yeah. But they also mention it's not fully paid for yet, which kind of leads into another factor here.
The money side of things.
Exactly. Finances. The author explicitly talks about stock market volatility affecting their investments and, their travel budget taking a hit as a result.
Right. That's a reality for a lot of people. So it's a mix of the political atmosphere, the border experience, and financial pressure.
It seems like a convergence, yeah. Not just one single reason, but several factors pushing in the same direction towards exploring Canada more right now.
And beyond just the logistics and the money, there seems to be a deeper shift, too, in how they view travel itself.
Yes, I think that's really key. The author emphasizes travel being about the experiences, the connections you make, the memories, the meaning behind it.
And finding that meaning closer to home.
Precisely. There's this sense that discovering more about Canada, connecting with their own country, actually makes those travel experiences feel richer, more significant somehow, especially now.
It's like reframing the whole purpose of getting away. Not just escape, but also connection.
Connection to place, maybe connection to identity too, in a way.
Okay, so let's sort of wrap this up. We've looked at this one Canadian traveler's perspective, documented in their blog. Someone who went from very frequent U.S. trips
to making a deliberate choice to focus on Canadian destinations like Quebec City and Nova Scotia for a while.
And the reasons seem to be a blend, a changing feeling about the U.S. border crossing, maybe influenced by political talk, combined with some real-world financial constraints.
Plus that reframing of travel itself, finding deeper meaning and exploring home.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How these large-scale things, politics, economics, global dynamics.
Yeah, how they can filter down and genuinely shape very personal choices, like where you decide to go on holiday. It kind of prompts a question for you, listening.
How might these bigger narratives, things happening out there in the world, be subtly steering your own decisions, even your travel plans, in ways you maybe haven't fully considered? Something to think about.